Hello, welcome back. We are going to continue reading on with Cam Jansen, The Mystery of the Stolen Diamond. When we left off on Monday, the police had just come to Parker's jewelry store and they were trying to figure out where the man went from the jewelry store. So we're going to start today with chapter 3. And here we go. Cam sat down on the bench. She ran her fingers through her hair. Cam had what people called bright red hair, even though it was more orange than red. Eric's hair was dark brown. "Do you think they'll catch him?" Eric asked. "It shouldn't be too hard," Cam said. "Almost everyone between here and the other end of the mall saw which way he went." Eric was still feeding Howie. "Are you almost finished?" Cam asked. "Almost. Good. Then we can go ask those two old women what happened inside the jewelry store." Eric took the bottle out of Howie's mouth and set it down on the bench. He held Howie against his shoulder and patted his back. Howie burped. "Okay," Eric announced. "We're ready." Eric carried Howie and Cam pushed the carriage. They went over to the next bench. "My, what a cute baby," the woman with the cane said. "Is it a boy or a girl?" "Boy." The woman looked straight at Howie and asked, "Where's your mother, little boy?" "He doesn't talk yet," Eric told her. "Oh." "I'm his brother. My mother took the twins shopping for clothes. I'm watching him until they're done." "Clothes? Well, they're lucky they're not shopping for jewelry." "Why?" Cam asked. "What happened inside the jewelry store?" The woman put her hand to her cheek. She shook her head slowly. "Oh, it was horrible. We were there when a man came in and pointed a gun right at Mr. Parker." "Diamonds," he said. "Every loose one you got." Mr. Parker gave him a whole pile of small diamonds. You know, the kind he uses to make earrings. The man took them all. Then he made Mr. Parker lie face down on the floor. "Isn't that right, Esther?" "Yes," the other woman said, nodding her head. "He was terribly impolite." Then the first woman went on. "He pointed it right at us. He didn't dare talk to us the way he talked to Mr. Parker. He didn't rob us either. He just said, 'Ladies, turn around and you won't get hurt.' There was a nice young couple in the store, too. They had their baby with them, a cute little girl. I heard the man with the gun tell them to face the wall. It was horrible. We stayed that way with our faces until Mr. Parker told us it was safe to leave." The woman stopped talking. Someone was shouting. They all turned to see where the noise was coming from. The policemen were coming back. There were 4 of them now. Handcuffed to one policeman was a tall man in a dark suit. "I didn't do it," the man yelled. "You've got the wrong guy." And here's a picture of him. "Well, let Mr. Parker decide that," the policeman said. Cam was all excited. "That's him. They got him. That's the man who ran out of the Parkers. I remember that mustache, that dark suit, and that ugly green tie." "Well, he may be the man who ran out of the store," the woman with the cane declared, "but he's not the man who robbed it. Is he, Esther?" "Nope, that's not him. I'm sure of it." Chapter 4. Cam and Eric went back to their bench and sat down. Eric put Howie in the carriage and rocked him to sleep. "Do you think those women are right?" Eric asked. "Do you think the police caught the wrong man?" "The whole thing doesn't make sense," Cam said. "Whoever robbed the store was right faced with those women. They should know what he looks like. But if they're right, and the man isn't the thief, why did he run like that?" Good question. "Maybe you were wrong. Maybe he's not the man we saw running." "Oh, he's the man all right," Cam said. "The man who ran past us had a mustache that curled up at the ends, an ugly green tie, and red and yellow flowers. I'm sure that's the man the police caught." The small crowd was gone. The only evidence that happened was the police car and the "Sorry, we're closed" sign in the window of the jewelry store. The 4 policemen and the man they caught were all inside Parker's. Cam got up on the bench and she closed her eyes. "What are you doing up there?" Eric asked. "Thinking. This is where I was when everything happened. Standing here should help me remember what I saw." "You know," Eric said, "there wasn't another man who left the store. The man with the baby." Cam sat down. "Yes, I know. I have a picture of him in my brain. He was tall and wore a dark suit, just like the man the police caught, and he was holding a large baby rattle." Cam thought for a minute. Then she went to the front of Howie's carriage and opened the insulated bag. Cam spoke slowly, as if she were talking and thinking at the same time. "There was something strange about that couple. Your mother packs his whole bag when she takes Howie somewhere. That couple had a baby too, but all they brought along was a rattle." Cam stopped talking. happening inside the store. Mr. Parker came to the window and turned the closed sign around. The other side of the sign said, "We're open. Come on in and browse." The door opened and the policeman came out with the man they had caught. He was no longer handcuffed. They spoke to him for just a moment. Then the man walked away. He walked past Cam and Eric and out the nearest exit. He smiled as they walked by. "They let him go," Cam said. "Yeah, but did you see which way he went?" Cam looked at Eric. They were both thinking the same thing. Before, when he was in such a rush, he went that way. Eric pointed to the center of the mall. If he was in such a hurry to get there before, you'd think he'd go back that way now. So here they are, kind of chatting a little bit. "Yeah," Cam said, "but he's going in the other direction, and it's the same way that couple went. Something strange is going on. Come on, let's follow him." "But what about Howie? Bring him along." Chapter 5. Cam and Eric quickly went out the Lee Avenue exit, the same one the man had gone through a few minutes earlier. It led to a street crowded with shoppers leaving the mall. "Do you see him?" Eric asked. "I think so. I think that's him up ahead." He's starting to walk down Lee Avenue. Cam and Eric tried to get through the crowd quickly. With a baby carriage, though, it wasn't easy. They brushed past a woman carrying a few large packages. She lost her balance and one of the packages fell. "What do you think it is?" she yelled, pointing to a carriage. "A hot rod?" Eric picked up the package. "I'm sorry," he told the woman. "You should be. Running through here like that, I hope you don't have a baby in there." Eric was about to tell her there was a baby in the carriage, but Cam didn't let him. "Come on," she urged, "or we'll lose the man." They rushed ahead. They turned the corner onto Lee Avenue and saw the man halfway down the block. "Let's not get too close," Eric warned Cam, "or he's going to know we're following him." They were careful to keep a good distance behind the man, but it didn't help. When the man reached the corner, he turned and looked straight at them. "He saw us," Eric whispered. "What should we do?" "Keep walking. If we stop whenever he does, he'll know we're following him." The man stood still and waited, and after Cam and Eric pushed the baby carriage past him, he turned and walked down Minnow Road. Cam and Eric kept walking until the man was out of sight. Then they turned and walked back to the corner of Minnow Road. The street was filled with construction equipment and huge mounds of dirt. A row of old houses was being torn down. Cam and Eric saw the man walk into the last house at the far end of the street. "It's almost 12, Eric said. "My mother will be waiting. Let's go back. Let's call the police." "And what should we tell them? If those women and Mr. Parker are right, we're following an innocent man. As soon as we know something, we'll call." Cam crouched and made her own way down the street. "Come on," she called in a loud whisper. Eric crouched too as he pushed Howie's carriage and followed Cam. There were piles of dirt and sand all along the sidewalk. When they were behind a huge mound of dirt in front of the last house, Cam collapsed. "We made it," she said. "What do we do now?" "Let's see what's going on inside of that house." And here they are, kind of crouching down. Cam and Eric started to crawl up the dirt pile. Then Eric stopped. Howie was no longer sleeping. He was beginning to move in his carriage. "Keep him quiet," Cam whispered. "I'll try." "You better do more than try. If he cries, we're in real trouble." Eric rocked the carriage gently. Howie looked up at Eric, but he didn't cry. Cam reached the top of the dirt pile. She had a good view of the old house. It was 3 stories high with rows of windows. Some of the windows were broken. There were no curtains or shades, so Cam could see right in. Through a large window on the first floor, she saw the man they had followed. He wasn't alone. The couple who had left the jewelry store just after the robbery was there too. Cam quickly crawled down the hill. "I was right, Eric." "Shh," Eric pointed to Howie. "I think he's going back to sleep." "They're all in there," Cam whispered. "The runner and the couple we saw leaving the store, they're all working together. The runner made all that commotion to keep the police from catching the real thief." "Well, what about the woman and her baby?" "Maybe they figured no one would suspect a man who went shopping with his wife and baby. If they did, they were right. You saw what happened when they left the store. They just walked away and almost no one noticed." "Let's go back now," Eric urged, "and get the police." "You go," Cam told him, "and hurry. I'll stay here and watch the house." "Watch Howie too. I can move faster without him." Eric ran off before Cam could tell him she didn't know how to watch a baby. Cam sat back against the pile of dirt and waited. It was very quiet. Cam looked around. Then she saw why it was so quiet. There were barriers at both ends of the street. Because houses were being torn down, cars were not allowed on Minnow Road. Cam realized that she and Howie were alone. The only other people nearby were the thieves. I hope Eric hurries, Cam thought. Whoosh! Something dropped to the ground. Cam looked up. A squirrel was running along the branch of a tree and had dropped an acorn. Howie started to cry. Oh no, Cam thought. What would Eric do? Cam said, click. Sometimes just saying it helped her remember. It did. Cam remembered the insulated bag and that Howie couldn't drink milk and cry at the same time. She took the bottle out of the bag. Then Cam heard another noise. She dropped the bottle and looked up. This time, it wasn't the squirrel. I wonder what that noise was. I want you to think about it and then check back in on Friday when we finish the chapter book. All right, guys, thanks so much.